Ross. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm curious, as somebody who has gone to and worked at multiple universities, what it's like now being an athletic director in this current NIL environment that we have here. You're almost like a CEO.
I'll tell you what, we could go in the Wayback Machine. When I first started, my first full-time job was at Western Kentucky in 1996 in college athletics, full-time job in college athletics. And the fundamentals were raise money, sell tickets, follow the rules, go to class for student athletes, hire good coaches, make sure you have good facilities, across the board. And that was it. But now you have the entire governance pieces, the legislative structure. So you almost need to be an attorney, a CEO, a revenue generator, a compliance person.
A lot of hats.
A construction worker, right? A construction hat, a hard hat. There's so many components to it. It's fascinating. It's consuming. You have to be a little bit of a generalist about everything. You have to know enough about everything to not get trapped on any one subject, to get caught in anything. And so it's really, really a fascinating time to be involved in this. But the way I look at it is we get to do this. We get to solve these problems. Somebody has to do it. And so we're just leaning in at Ohio State and everything that we can do.
What's sort of your philosophy on NIL, and do you sort of see a future of collective bargaining with these students essentially as employees?
It kind of goes back to what we were talking about. What's the facet of being an AD? Everything, right? We have to embrace everything. So the philosophy on NIL is embrace it at the highest level. Be as aggressive as you can be, given your the environment. A lot of the rules haven't been published yet, right? And so we're still waiting on some of that piece of it. So how do you maximize your rev share number, which everybody has the same ability to go up to the 20.5 million, right? Everybody has that same number. How you spend that can all be, variant depending on your institution. And then the next race in this space, how do we create as much third-party NIL opportunities as possible, so above the cap, that will pass NIL Go, that will pass the clearinghouse. So that's going to be the philosophy, is go all in, create opportunities, so you have your rev share cap, and then you have a certain pile of resources that can be deployed towards athletes. So that's how we're looking at it at Ohio State.
That's a lot budget-wise to massage and allocate. Let's talk about football specifically. What's your ideal format for the CFP moving forward? A lot of talk about how it should change and guaranteed slots.
Yeah, back to just the structural piece real quick. There is a memo of understanding between the 4 autonomy leagues and really the rest of the group of 6 that gives the Big Ten and the SEC authority to come up with a format. Now we have to collaborate, we have to listen, we have to take input, but essentially it does come down to the 2 conferences that can make a decision. Now, you don't want to do that in a vacuum. You want to make sure that you're doing the right things for the game. Selfishly, Ohio State could stay at 4. We could go back to 4. In most years, probably be okay. At 12, we should be okay. We gotta keep doing our part, right? I mean, we gotta keep investing and keep coaching and keep recruiting at a high level. But I'm a believer that for the good of the game, for the health of the game, for content, for high-level matchups, we should expand. Could we go to 16? Could we go to 20? Could we go to 24? There's proposals out there to go to 28. There's been a couple other proposals to go to 32.
Well, it's like, how far do you take it? You expand, and then 2 years later, everyone wants to expand again.
So no matter what the model is, we all get hung up in these numbers, 24, 28, oh my God, they can't do this. But here's what you cannot argue with. Nobody can argue with this. What's wrong with more high-level football? What's wrong with more meaningful postseason content? What's wrong with keeping the postseason alive for as many teams as possible? So to me, nobody can argue with that piece. Now, how you get there, automatic qualifying spots, how many should the Big Ten have and the SEC, that's where everybody kind of gets hung up. But if you just take high-level content, meaningful content for football, if you take maybe the conference championship weekend and morph that into the playoffs, if you take bowl games that are part of the system and you call them playoff games, what's wrong with that? And so to me, we need to kind of take a step back. Let's do what's right by the game. Let's add more content. Let's add more value. What did we talk about earlier? Money. The system needs more money. So if you have these high profile games that are playoff games, There's more money into the system, which then goes back to the athletes. So to me, hopefully we can get to a good place where expansion can really be well thought out between all the conferences, knowing that the Big Ten and the SEC are going to drive the way here.
And is Ryan Day your guy long term to steer you through all this?
Absolutely. He's young. He's got tons of energy. Maybe what you're referring to is the Team Up North game. We'll figure that piece out. But we do have the championship trophy. Coach Day is awesome. The way he leads, his culture of the program. It's been really great to work with Coach
And
Day.
this gets to one of our last questions with you. Obviously, as I mentioned, big win for you guys against Texas last week, but of course that didn't come with some controversy from one of the broadcasters, specifically Fox and Dave Portnoy beforehand. I want to get your response to what the Iowa State athletic director tweeted just earlier today. He said, "Iowa State is not Ohio State." Dave Portnoy
really?
and Barstool will be live Saturday as part of Fox's Big Noon Kickoff. I'm just curious.
You said Jamie
Pollard
Oh, really?
just tweeted that today.
I'll have to check that out.
I'm curious just your response to that and the
Yeah.
whole situation that happened with Portnoy
Look,
for week one.
You really need to ask Fox what the programming plan was presented to us. The thing is, we never had to react to anything because Fox said, "This is exactly what we're going to do," and we said, "Okay, great. We'll see you guys on Saturday. See you on game day." So I haven't seen that tweet. Jamie's he's a good friend. I've known him for a long time, so I'll have to check out what he means by Iowa State is not Ohio State.
Well, we do appreciate
Absolutely.
you coming in and talking to us, and it's incredible to see what a juggernaut you guys have been able to create over at Ohio State. What's the thing you're most excited about for this year, especially
really,
defending your national championship?
Yeah, I think the great thing about this team is they really have their own identity. A lot of the players were like, that was last year's team. Even though some of them played on that team, a lot of them did. Hey, look, this is a new team, new leadership, new identity, new culture. Clearly getting off to a start like we did last week could set a tone. Now you just have to take it, that old coach speak, 1 week at a time. So just excited to see the growth of this team week by week.
Absolutely, and to see you guys defend that championship as well. Ross, thank you so very much for
you,
joining
guys.
us.
Thanks
The
for having
athletic
me.
director
Yep.
of Ohio State joining us here on Front Office Sports today. And don't go anywhere, we got a lot more show headed your way right after this.